So
even if you are waiting for some other participants, I don't have any issue. Means I'm free.
yeah, we can wait maybe 4 or 5 more minutes actually.
Yeah, okay, okay, no problem.
Yeah. So we have our Amit, and today morning you won't believe that I also talked first time to Biren Bahadur. Do you know that? Biren Bahadur was there in paint technology.
मेरे को पूरा फोल्ड क्यों हो गया? क्या हो गया?
So we have here also one of my the other colleague, and he's also there in industry, art industry, the Rahul Chaudhary. So
Mm-hmm.
he works in process in the scale up. He was really interested to see you, so he had joined. Rahul, can you turn on your video? Uh, Mr. Rahul Chaudhary, can you hear?
Yeah, I can listen you. Yes.
Yeah. So Himanshu Sachan has joined, and because you were waiting for his lecture from last so many days, right?
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Rahul.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, just second. I am just turning on my video.
Please take your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are at plant?
No. I am not at plant. Actually, I am in the hospital.
Okay. So
Yeah.
just for the normal visit?
No. Actually, I brought my son here to just consult the doctor.
Okay.
Now they are discussing with the doctor, and I am outside waiting for them.
Oh, Jazakallah.
Yeah. So I will be just now leaving for the home in next 10 to 5 minutes.
Sure. Thank you. So let me start it. We can start it actually. So good morning to everyone present here. I am Dr. Rajkumar Arya, Associate Professor, Department of Chemical Engineering, NIT Jalandhar. Today we have gathered on 10th of October 2020 to be part of a short-term course organized by Chemical Engineering Department of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, National Institute of Technology, Jalandhar. I thus take the opportunity to welcome you all to the fourth day of the online short-term course based on the theme Current Industrial Practices in Chemical Engineering. However, before we proceed with the session, I would like to introduce you all to the Honorable Director of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, National Institute of Technology, Jalandhar, Professor Dr. Lalit Kumar Avasthi sir, for his generous support and guidance. We also have the convener and the HOD of Chemical Engineering Department, Dr. Sangeeta Garg, fellow coordinator, Dr. Amit Dhruv Saran, faculty members and lively participants attending the webinar from across the globe. The first speaker of today's session is Mr. Himanshu Sachan, Lead Process Engineer, Oil Shop, Dubai, who will deliberate on plant design stages and process engineering. Let me introduce Mr. Himanshu Sachan to everyone present here. We have amidst us Mr. Himanshu Sachan, who is a chemical engineer with more than 19 years of extensive global experience of process engineering design, pre-commissioning and commissioning, plant operation and engineering, management of oil and gas, refineries, chemical, petrochemical and oil processing projects. Mr. Sachan did BTech in chemical engineering from SBTI Kanpur in the year 2001. After that, he has joined several industries with the various capacities. So some of them are Big B Lurgi, Pyro Energy, Samsung Engineering, Technip, Jacobs, and Simons India. He was involved in several major projects in Iran, Malaysia, Germany, Qatar, Iraq, and Abu Dhabi, as well as in Haldia, Dahej, Bharuch, etc., and was involved in pre-feed for 15 million metric standard cubic foot per day gas management facility, engineering of 20,000 barrel oil per day process facility, basic engineering and feed for 407 tons per day sulfur recovery unit among others. He is an associate member of Institute of Chemical Engineers UK. Mr. Sachan currently working as a process lead engineer in Oil Serv UAE. So with this short introduction, I would like Mr. Sachan to conduct the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Arya. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
First of all, I am thankful to each and every participants and the NIT Jalandhar principal, teachers, complete management for giving me the opportunity, this opportunity to interact with you all. It's really an honor to me, and it's always a great thing to interact with the institutes. So, okay, I will start my presentation or a short session. Okay, so let me, Mr. Arya, just let me know when my presentation slides are at the monitor.
Yes, sure. Yes, visible.
Okay, that's good.
So I would like to add one more thing. We are contacting Mr. Sachan from last, I think, 1.5 years, and unfortunately, we were not able to manage the time because sometimes he was busy, sometimes we didn't have the slot or timing. So today only we were able to make it up actually.
Yeah,
So
it was.
thank you very much for accepting our invitation, managing your time from your so much busy schedule for this particular talk actually.
No, Mr. Arya, it's my honor actually to be here, and you are right. We were trying from last 1.5 year. Actually, actually sometimes I feel it very nice to interact face to face, and that is normally it's a good also, because when you interact face to face you have more queries, you have more interaction basically. In online, okay, this is a right now we cannot do anything else other than this one, but somehow it's always good to have an interactive section. So here also I would like to each and every participant, I would request to make this session as much as interactive as we can with the given facilities, and I will try whatever my knowledge, based on my knowledge, whatever queries I can resolve, it will be very nice. So I think I will proceed. I already Mr. Arya has given the topic introduction and about myself. So wow, why it is, just a second. Okay. Okay, this is just agenda. I made it. So it's an introduction. So already I think it is covered. So no need to go on again and again. So it's, and then it's a safety movement. I will let you know why this topic safety movement I kept as a part of presentation. Then what is your thinking about the process engineering? What actually is a process engineering? Then areas of process engineering where it actually we apply the process engineering. Then which type of projects we deal with, and then what are the stages being a process, what are the stages there are, then what actually a process engineers are doing. So that will be covered under process engineering profile. Deliverables, what are the deliverables, then workflow, and then we will just touch upon that what are the softwares normally we use, and also the codes and standards we apply. And at the end, whatever question answer. So question and answer anyway I kept at the last, but it's not that I will feel better if you can anytime you can raise your hand, and we can have the interactive session. Anytime you can ask the questions. Don't leave it for the last. So that's the way we can make it more interactive. So I will go with the safety movement. Actually, what is a safety movement? Why this is important? Basically, this is a safety movement is like a 1 or 2 minute talk, which we I will say we do into the industrial practices as industrial practices. It's basically a culture. It's a culture which is getting developed within the industry. It's not only industry, but within ourselves, with your family, with the colleges, students, institutions, anywhere. This is a safety talk for 2 minutes, which just give you interaction, or it just remind you that how the safety is important. What is the importance of a safety? See, human brain, everything. And these safety moments are not something very different, that okay, something but these safety moments are just to remind your brain that no, the safety is important and you need to take care. We know everything. We know most of the things which are getting covered into the safety moment. But just to start a meeting, whatever, whosoever is a participant, we remind them that what is a safety movement, and what are the safe culture, how can we introduce a safe culture into the company or institutes or colleges. So here I just took a snapshot which has been developed by Texas Medical Association during this COVID-19 period. I thought this could be the most beneficial among ourselves. So this gives a rating from 1 to 9, that what are the activities, what are the things at this stage are little with the low risk, or which are the moderate risk and the high risk. So maybe I think it should be should be able to little bit it should be visible, right, Mr. Arya? So I'm not going each and every point, but if you see that opening the mall, getting restaurant takeout, means takeout is a low risk, but eating there is a little moderate risk. Going for a grocery shopping, going for a walk, playing golf, or staying in a hotel for 1 2 nights. Why 2 nights is restricted? Because 2 nights the basically the each and every hotel or restaurants are sanitizing. So when you continue for a long term, then it obstructs their sanitization process for that particular room. So that's why it's a 2 nights is mentioned. Eating in a restaurant outside, so it's come under the low risk. Moderate risk, like going to a beach, going to a shopping mall, working a week in an office or building, swimming in a public pool. These are something moderate risk. But high risk, if you can see, eating a buffet where many people are there, the gathering is there in the buffet, so it's a high risk thing. Working out in a gym, going in a movie theater, these are something high risk. So basically these are the points where you must try to avoid as much as it's possible for you. There are mandatory things which you cannot avoid, but based on this chart you may avoid certain things, obviously. So this has been, it's a good thing, basically good study done by the Texas Medical Association.
Yeah,
I
one
will
thing I would like to
please.
add, because in this particular time period, in our news or TV, one thing comes actually that step out the home only for when it is very necessary actually, and that we learned something from this particular time period, because earlier we are going out for even for small things. Without those we can manage, but no, we are going out immediately actually. So something from this time period we have learned actually, that we should step out the home only if it is most urgent actually, and that
Exactly.
saved a lot of thing actually, that your vehicle, your traffic, your pollution, your own safety. I mean, means it has saved a lot of things actually in different ways.
And also, if you see around, means if you are going out, you can see a lot of rush there. Okay, obviously the government cannot keep the lockdown for infinite time. So government will open on a stepwise, but for yourself, you should take care about yourself. That until unless it's not mandatory, don't go outside. Don't think that okay, everything is open and the COVID is gone. No, COVID is still there. Only thing you need to take care by yourself. So this is just a safety movement. It's a basically culture, right? To start, we giving 2 minutes talk on the safety. Okay, so let's move to another one.
It's good
Okay,
actually. I heard the first presentation in my entire life. It's good actually. Safety is mostly important part, and this is the first presentation which was started from safety first, and the rest of the things are later.
thank
So
you.
it's good actually. It's good. I learned something from here actually.
And it's not only in the institutions, basically our organizations. It's a basically culture. Sometimes I also go to the institutes. Sometimes I go to the colleges, basically to introduce this culture. What happened that suppose in the morning when colleges start, so that's also I will request to NIT Jalandhar also, that if suppose the first class which is getting started, the day you are starting, just remind for 1 or 2 minutes that what is about safety. For it's nothing new, like you are reminding that okay, you don't cross the red lights. You are reminding
Yeah.
the everybody that okay, what are the rules. Okay, so what are the safety norms you should take care at home. So these are how to drive at on roads. So these are small things. It's just for the reminder purpose, nothing else. Okay, so I will just start with this first slide as a process engineering. So I would like anybody, if you can, somebody tell me that what is the difference? Means, okay, right now it's a chemical engineering and you are hearing the word process engineering. So can anybody tell me what is this chemical engineering and process engineering? Become just after 4 years you joined something and you started calling everybody as a process engineer. So what is the difference? Any volunteer? It will be very nice if anybody can volunteer on this.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
So process for me actually uh, are you can say a route just to produce the something actually, and then you are putting engineering into that just to find some optimum solution of that particular route. So you have added engineering into that. After
Mhm.
that engineering, if you are the looking for only for let's say production of some means some molecule, it could be anything, mean the any compound. If you are the producing some materials, and it goes to in the category of I think chemical engineering. Actually, chemical engineering, if you will add into your the process and then you are producing something, probably that may be the means the complete the process engineering for a chemical engineering. And I from my side actually from my
Yeah,
side.
no, correct. So, and anybody else? Anybody else would like to say anything?
Yeah,
Else
we
we can
have
proceed.
the means our many students. We have our faculties also. So
Please.
they would also add something to that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sir, I think process engineers are chemical engineers, but they specifically concentrate in some methods that produce chemicals, or they focus into some particular methods of producing something, of production of something, like
Right.
oxidation or such kind of thing.
Right. Anybody else? Or we can proceed. Okay. So it's basically, this is the difference. Chemical engineering, you learn the things, and when you apply it, you both were right. When you apply it, you become a process engineering. So process engineering, you are getting more involved, how to use the whatever you have studied during this 4 year time. See, why I choose this topic, because when I was introduced into the industry after my 4 year chemical engineering, for I think around 6 7 months I was just blank that what am I doing and how it is, everything is got changed, because student life and professional life is little bit different. So that's keeping that in mind, I prepared my slide so that I can give as much as possible to our engineering students, right? So maybe some already experienced professional may not find very good, but I kept in mind about my situation in 2001, and where I can give more and more to our engineering students. So basically it's an application, which is a differentiation between a chemical engineer and process engineer. So now, before going to this slide, I have one more thing just to tell that process engineering, basically it's a good thing to visualize the thing. Basically, as much as you can visualize, it is good. Like I take a very good example that our mothers are a very good process engineers. Now you will be surprised to hear this, that how it is possible. See, they with the experience, with their applications, they know the what quality of food you are looking for. How basically there are three parameters which round about the process engineering, that is pressure, temperature and level. These are the three typical parameters which are most important. The same thing happened with our food processing, that you take a pressure cooker, then you put the some pressure and some temperature optimized, and then there is some water level inside. If that combination got here and there, the quality which you are looking for, you will not get. Same thing is in the process plant, that these three parameters are very important. So I am just trying to link those things so that you can visualize it, that how important it is. Like a pressure cooker is itself is a pressure vessel, right? Everything. So same thing is in the industry. In a vessel, you have the oil, you have the water, which you are separating, it is mixing. So just try to visualize your home is itself is a plant. Like your motor is working, your pump is working and filling the tank. So there should be some head over there. You are going to buy some pump which can deliver the water into the tank, which is at maybe 3 story building, 10 story building, 20 story building. So you cannot just go and buy any pump. There must be some phenomena that the pump should be able to have something head. How much is the power consumption will be that for that pump? So which type of socket you require? So these are the things just for a visualization, that what we do into the plant. So what are the main areas? So these are following as an example, where you use as a process engineers: refinery, petrochemical plants, oil and gas, chemicals, nuclears, pharmaceuticals, power plants. So these are some industries where there is a requirement of process engineering. But what is common in all this? Why you feel that process engineering is involved, and what is a common which everybody can do? So in nutshell, any industry which handles a fluid flow. You can say, okay, these are, you have listed these industry, but I can say there are some more industries. Okay, fine. But what is common in those industries? That they handle a fluid flow. If any industry involves in a dynamic operation, monitoring and control system, there must be a requirement of a process engineer. So this is a nutshell that what these are the areas where process engineering can work. So type of projects, which type of projects we are handling? See, these are some very standard and typical types, but it's not mandatory that for the execution of any project you must have these stages or these types. Basically, it depends on client to client that at what level he want to have the expenses on that project, or how much detailed he is looking for. So something like a feasibility study, conceptual study. So feasibility study is basically, if I give a raw example, that if you want to install any plant, you don't have any idea, so you will contact somebody, you will contact any company, and you will say that, okay, I want to have a plant, something like which can give me this much quality of oil of this quality and this volume, this quantity, and what can be the feasible, is it feasible or not at that particular area. So this type of projects are coming. So we are involved in that one. We do the feasibility based on the plot available, based on the raw material availability, based on the quality you looking for. What could be a technology is there, or it's open art technology, or we need to go for any licensor, right? So this is a feasibility study we do in short. Then after that it comes a conceptual study. Okay, fine. You got a feasibility study that, okay, this project is feasible. Now what could be the next? So okay, I told you that, okay, it is feasible. Now you will again go back to the company. If you decided, no, okay, now this is within the budget, and we can have a look further for the engineering, then you will have a conceptual study. In conceptual study, what you do, what could be the plot size, how many equipments will be there, is there any, oh, this is a open art engineering, or you need to go to any licensor. So these type of things you are doing in a conceptual study, and then you will tell, okay, these are the things. It involves a licensor. For example, I am telling you, it involves a licensor. There are say example 5 or 10 licensor are there who is giving us this technology. That's all. That's finished in the conceptual study. Now you gave a recommendation that, okay, 5 licensor are available in the market, but you now in a question mark that, okay, to whom with I should go. Then again you will go to the another company, you will say, okay, can you evaluate that who will be who which licensor will be a optimized solution for me. If it is an open art, then you will ask that company, based on this one, can you tell me how much will be the cost of this project? Because you cannot dependent on one guy that, okay, he is saying suppose $100 million. Maybe you give somebody else, he optimized something and he came with a low cost solution. Similarly, licensor evaluation, you will evaluate which licensor would be good. Basically, we are looking for a capex and opex. Maybe some licensor have big capex, but their opex is low, and or somebody can have a low capex but high opex. So these things are getting evaluated, that over the period of 10 years, if suppose your opex is high, then you will evaluate that today we should invest the money, or during the 10-year you are ready to invest the money. So that licensor evaluation or open art will tell you. Then you are basically firm that, no, I need to go ahead with the project. So when these things happen, then you again award that, okay, basic engineering. Now it's a basic engineering. You went to that licensor, you said, this is the plant we want to install and you have the technology, so can you give me a basic engineering package for that plant? So licensor normally have some standard packages you tell them the capacity, accordingly they will do the basic things, because you cannot expect a licensor to do the detail engineering. They can do, but this will not be a economical solution. Licensors have a much more man hour rate than the other engineering contractor. If your basic things are fixed, you can go to any other engineering company and get the same thing detail engineered in a low cost. So you just take from the licensor a basic engineering package. If it is an open art, then you go to the companies who has already done 5-10 plants engineering on that subject, that product. So that comes into the basic engineering. Okay, then basic engineering is finished. Then you go with the extended basic, and then it's a front end engineering design. Now there is a basically these are the very standard in last 20 years back, but nowadays nobody goes for okay basic engineering, then extended basic, then feed engineering, so or detail engineering. So these steps can be clubbed. Basically after the basic engineering, you can just contact one engineering company that I want a detail engineering package. So extended basic and front end design engineering design is basically these are the steps. If the client has something want to more optimize about the cost. So one thing is the optimization of the cost. Other hand, he is giving some money to these contractor also. So these things to be decided by the client. Does he want to go for these steps, or after the basic engineering he can directly go to the detail engineering. So now the same thing happens in the detail engineering or EPC or EPCM. Normally, many companies club these detail engineering and EPC or EPCM. It's engineering, procurement, construction, and management. So mostly detail engineering, and you contact the EPC company and you say you do the engineering and you take it as a EPC. But there are certain plants, there are certain companies who don't have the EPC experience of the construction or commissioning. So they can say, no, I have detail engineering company. So we are detail engineering company. We will do the engineering, but for the EPC at the site, you need to involve some other company. So what we do, we give our engineered document to those companies. Based on those document, these guys will construct the plant and commission the plant. So these are the certain standard, certain steps of a standard project. There are some different type of projects also, like debottlenecking, revamp, and scale up studies. So these also coming that okay, right now I have 100 TPD plant capacity, but based on the market demand, it's like a 120 tons per day or 150 tons per day. So I will go to an engineering company. I will say, okay, this is my existing plant. Can you tell me what are the changes I need to do in this existing plant to make it a 150 tons per day capacity plant? So either you may need to change the pumps, or you need to change some instruments or control valve or some piping, or it could happen that okay, you can say that okay, after studying that no, this plant cannot handle this in place of 100 to 150 tons per day, you may require another plant. But normally it's not happen. Then client say, okay, you tell me that how much maximum with the minimum changes I can go or enhance the capacity of my existing plant. So it can happen that in place of 100, you can suggest for 120 tons per day. So that's all. And our involvement as a process guy is also in a proposal engineering. We do proposal engineering. We win the contract or not, that is another matter. But we have, as a process guy, you have a good involvement during the proposal engineering. So these type of projects basically we handle in this industry. Any question? I am proceeding further. Okay, I think I will proceed
Yes,
with the
yes,
yeah, please.
yeah. I just want to understand you just to connect it again because I missed something, yeah, for this slide. Whether these kind of projects you get, or is it kind of sequence of doing projects? I want to understand. what you have listed.
Correct. This list is basically is a sequence of projects. Okay, this is a sequence of project, any project, but these are type of projects. Because why I am saying type of projects, it's not there are 10 engineering companies. One engineering companies is not, you will not going to award all these steps to only one engineering company, that okay, you do the feasibility, then you do the conceptual, you do the basic engineering. No, maybe you anytime you can get a project like extended basic, or you can get only the detail engineering project. So for me this is a type of project that I got only the detail engineering of that plant.
Okay. So
You got my
here I
point?
just want to understand,
Hmm.
if it's a sequence of the project, then is it something that key conceptual study will come first and then we will work on feasibility?
No, normally, but see, that's
Or
the point actually. That's the point. Feasibility first. Why conceptual study is in a second part? Because first thing you are going to see that is it really feasible? Means suppose you want to install a, for example, 100 TPD of diesel production plant, for example, right? But if
yeah,
this is just a thought, this is your thought. So first thing you need to check with the companies available that is my thought is feasible or not in that area. If suppose you don't have any raw material in that area, then how you are going to install a plant over there? Maybe okay, you can install nowadays. You lay the pipeline, take the crude, install the refinery over there, but there will be a cost involved. So first, your idea should be feasible. That should be checked. Okay, so now
okay,
after when you come to me, I will have a look on your idea. I will check the feasibility, that I may come back. Okay, it is feasible, but these are the constant. Okay, you say okay, these constant are very heavy on me, so I will, this project doesn't look feasible to me. Then you will not proceed. But if you say okay, these are the constant, okay, I can proceed with this constant, and I will lay the crude oil pipeline also. Now you decided, okay, I
right,
will lay the pipeline. Now the conceptual study starts. Conceptual study will tell that okay, if you want to lay the pipeline, if you want to install a plant, then what is the concept? What is the concept you need to apply to make your project feasible based on your
yeah.
feasibility study? You got my point now?
Yes, I got your
Okay.
point.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I just recall because this is what I also teach in process engineering actually.
Yeah.
So I just follow the book by Cedar and Cedar.
Hmm.
So this is there in that chapter, I think 3 or something. The what are the means the processes to design a process actually. So you are just means telling everything as that book have. So
It's
I
okay.
feel I just feel actually privileged. That whatever I am teaching to my means
I
the student is correct actually.
No, actually the point is okay. Maybe means you may be surprised. Means
No.
last 20.
Actually, that book first is just to give idea first. Just every stage you are calculating profit actually. Every stage.
Right.
Before doing the detailed part is the later on. First you calculate what the idea is, what is the cost of idea, profit. Every stage you are calculating profit. And the point you are finding it's not profitable, then it a question mark there. You are not supposed to proceed beyond. But
Exactly.
still, if you feel that your idea is too much strong, later on it may be feasible. So somehow you are the permitted. Okay, just follow that route to. Let's see the feasibility of that route.
Correct.
So I just feel, I am just feeling happy that whatever I taught to my student is somewhat correct, what the real practitioners are following.
I don't know. Means maybe means it's more than 18, 19 years. I have not gone on the basically typical books. Okay, obviously we are reading the codes and standards, everything. But somehow means we also need to read as many books as possible. but somehow because of this experience, we are just really studying the code and standards, okay, and then start the projects.
Yeah,
But
actually, I will add the one
for
more thing.
students,
There one more book, Rules of Thumbs for Chemical Engineers.
that
So
is very good
that
actually.
much big book, and it's there from based on all you people only. What you people got from your industry and practice, that's there. That this is the rule.
Yeah.
There's no theory behind that. This is the rule. Follow that, you will get this much. That's all.
Exactly. Exactly. No,
So,
that book is very much important because I'm telling you, see, when you do the proposal engineering, no company keep a costing for the proposal engineering that, okay, you spend 100 hours, it is not chargeable to any client. You are just preparing the proposal. So you try to minimize your hours involvement. That time you don't do each and every calculation to come to a certain point. So that time, this rule of thumb, this is very important. Okay, you just know that this should be the pipe size. This is the flow rate, this is the pipe size, and okay, you proceed with the with 2-inch pipe or 8-inch pipe. So take the costing accordingly. I will not. Okay, during detail engineering, I will do the calculation. I will see the pressure drop. I will see the velocity. I will see the Reynolds number. But during proposal stage, I will not check all these things. It will. I will try to reduce my man hours to the company.
yeah,
Everything
exactly.
is a
Yeah,
cost, right? So okay, I will proceed further.
yeah, sure.
So I just prepare this one. It's a typical. It's not before knowing actually these deliverables, or you can stages. What are the activities we are doing? I thought the type of projects, but these these stages where process involves, maybe something is applicable for that project, something is not applicable for that project. So, but these are the typical activities where process engineers are involved in a certain project stage, like process simulation. If you are a licensor company and I come to you that this is after the conceptual study or after the feasibility study, that okay, I am the licensor. So some client came to me and say, okay, this is the project. So first thing what you are going to do, you are going to simulate that okay, this is the raw material quality and this is the product quality client is looking for of that capacity. So what, how many equipments you need to install? What should be the temperature pressure of the plant? What are the how much is a basically it's a broad idea, and it's a total quality base. You are looking for this quality and you have this quality. So you do the process simulation. Based on the process simulation, you prepare the process flow diagram, because till process simulation and till process flow diagram, it's a total process activity. No other discipline is involved, because you are the center, you are the first contact point for any client to start the plant. So your role is much more important because you will be at the center. Then based on the you develop the process flow diagram, then it's MSD, material selection diagram, that okay, it's feasible, this is the capacity of the plant, these are the temperature pressure. So now you have to select the material, what should be the material for that composition, so that you put into the material selection diagram. Now another deliverable is DPDT, that is design pressure, design temperature. After the simulation, you get the operating parameters. With the operating parameter, you consider some margin and prepare a design pressure, design temperature diagram. These are the design
Actually,
conditions.
there's one question from the Jatinder Pal saying, if we
Please.
want to start learning process engineering, how learn it according to present or future industry, and how make learning theoretical study to industrial oriented?
Okay, it's a good question. Actually, that is the point. I will say in my first slide, I have shared a chemical engineering and a process engineering. So what is the difference? Difference is only a application. So an application, whatever you will apply based on your chemical engineering, slowly you grow as a process engineer with the experience. That's why we say that okay, experience matters. But the point is there are certain this is a, I will say, this is a gap. This is a gap, a small gap, where we basically get knowledge of chemical engineering, but we must have some that this is the way which you are organizing right now. This is a one step of bridging that gap, of a small gap, that how a chemical engineering should become a process engineer, right? But this is a gap where there are no certain there are no companies, or there are no such training institute who can give you a complete solution for it. But there are codes and standards. I will come to later on, I will come to those slides. So right now I can say that this is a gap where you need to start basically looking for the codes, like till now in chemical engineering, nobody teaches how to size a pressure safety valve. Okay, this is a gap which you come to know when you join any design industry and you are starting calculation based on the codes and standards, right? You study the fluid flow dynamics, but how you are going to apply it, how you are going to size those lines, what sizes should be applicable, which type of size of pipes available in the market or not. Suppose with the calculation you came to know that okay, 3-inch pipe is sufficient, but 3-inch pipe is a very 3-inch or 5-inch pipe is very rare to get into the market. You need to get to some certain companies and float your basically order to specifically prepare a 5-inch size for your requirement. So obviously when he is preparing a die for 5-inch, he will cost you more. So now, being a process engineer, as a chemical engineer, you have done this, that okay, I need 5-inch pipe. But as a process engineer, I will tell, no dear, you don't need to go for 5-inch. Either you see how much margin is available. Based on that, based on your experience, either you choose a 6-inch pipe or you go with a 4-inch pipe. So these are the margins. Suppose my limitation says that fluid velocity should not be more than 2 meter per second. So your 5-inch size is giving perfectly 2 meter per second velocity. I will say no. You install a 6-inch pipe, go ahead with the 1.8 meter per second velocity, or you install a 4-inch pipe and go ahead with 2.1 meter per second. So this is a basic difference.
Yeah, actually, that's what I teach when I do this fluid mechanics, the sizing of the pipeline.
Yeah.
So I emphasize that you should look the standard pipe size available in the market. So because in theoretical standard there are so many standard pipe size are there, but you have to see the availability in the market too. What do you have actually? Otherwise you did based on book. You have okay, these are
No,
the
I
pipe
will.
sizes.
Yeah, exactly. No, we are actually, this is a problem which I also face in during my means starting phase, career start phase. And I thought about this one, and somehow maybe I am trying to develop something which maybe I will forward to you guys, where I am trying to basically bridge this gap, that how a chemical engineer can become a process engineer, so that from the very first day the industries can utilize him. Because nowadays it's a competitive world. Earlier you join a company, your 1 year period is as a trainee engineer, and then you start learning over the period of 1 year, and then you start doing the application. But nowadays company wants ready to eat, basically. Seriously, I am telling you, it's ready to eat material.
Correct, correct.
So they think that okay, you join as a trainee engineer and you learn everything in 2 months and then giving me the output. So uh, we have some certain group of professionals which are trying to start thinking on this direction, and very soon we will come with the solution.
Yeah, actually, in next, I think next month, I'm planning that just to have all you, the industrial experts, just to revamp our syllabus actually, that what need to be covered actually as per to cater the industry need and as well as to have fundamentals, I mean, the balance of the two actually, so that
Exactly.
the need of industry, as you say, ready to eat the means the product or easy to use or the
Correct.
directly to be put on project. So
Right.
that would help actually. So I'm planning that thing actually.
Correct. Correct.
So as you have
Can I?
already entered in this one discussion, I would just want to put my one point as
Please.
Dr. Arya is something thinking on bridging the gap in his academic syllabus. So as Mr. Himanshu said, key process safety wall is not designed at academic and it is not taught in academics level. That is absolutely right. Because there is no subject kind of process safety in academics. So you can think of putting such kind of course in academics like process safety and something, right, Mr. Himanshu?
Yeah, right. Actually, see,
Actually,
it's the point is you are absolutely right, but it's a type of things where both the industry people and college level people should get involved in a very deep manner. It's means it's not a
Right, right.
superficial things and you can do. So that is the reason because I am in the industry from 20 years. So um, i have I have developed a group of some my professional friends, and we are already working on it. And if it's maybe very soon we will come with some solution.
yeah, actually, in that
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
would like to have multiple sessions with expert from. You can. My target is just to have expert on nearly, let's say, the 50 plus industries actually, and in
Mm-hmm.
various
Yeah.
capacities. So that we can take their views there, and then we will try to manage with our this basic fundamentals and application part also, because that is also fundamental. The designing of pipe, of valves, and all this, everything is fundamental part.
Correct.
But sometimes we just leave it. Okay, leave this part just to do this one only. So that way, that is the I mean the idea, just to get an idea from
Yeah.
people who are working at various levels actually, and they can give what they need at various stages actually. So
Exactly.
that is the plan.
Every everything is fundamentals. Basically, you are learning the fundamental that I tell you in the beginning, that you are learning the fundamentals. Only thing, over the period of time you come to know, you need to know that how to apply those fundamentals. That's all. So
Yes.
this is the difficult job, that how we can come with a solution, that how we should teach, that where to apply which fundamental. This is a gap. Okay, so I will proceed further. So these are the project stages where process is involved. Am I audible
Yeah,
proper?
yeah,
I got
yeah.
a
Yes, yes.
Okay, I got a pop-up that your network quality is bad. That's why. Okay. So then
No,
we are
that happens
hydraulic.
actually, but
Okay. So hydraulic calculation, then equipment sizing, we prepare it's called a data sheet basically. And then the most important deliverable of any project at any stage is a piping and instrumentation diagram. This is the document which covers most of the information about the plant. Then we also, as a process engineer, we also involved in the plot plan. Although it is a deliverable of a piping, but process has lot much to say on the plot plan. Then instrument data sheets. You give the process data to instrumentation. Accordingly, the instrument data sheet is prepared. Then electrical load list. Then we have a design review where also the process is involved. So these are seal study, constructability review, pre-commissioning activities. These are the stages, project stages where there is an involvement of a process guy. Commissioning activity, then guarantee test run. So this is typical one. I will move further. This maybe I have not covered all the activities, but I tried to basically show you that how in a company, how the people work. We normally prepared something like this chart. It's a planner. Under the planner, so we list each and every activity of the project. For example, here you can say from job instruction up to the guarantee test run, and then whatever activities we are doing uh, inside, that are getting basically under the some block colors. Yellow, you can say we kept some margin on it. So basically your job instruction as a first week activity, and based on the client requirement, you know that how much time we have, maybe 20 months, 36 months, some 12 months. Based on that, you put the last date here at the guaranteed test run, and then you accordingly distribute according to your deliverables. So this is chart you get develop it.
Me.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, there one suggestion from Mr. Prerna Gupta. Would be good if you can give the difference between PFD and PID for students.
PFD and PID, just a second. Oh, where is my?
So if it is be covered,
No, where I
on,
should keep a difference? Means here it is process flow diagram.
No, he wants to say, can you not differentiate the two, actually, the PFD and PID?
Okay. You want to understand the difference?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, that's what.
Fine. See, I will come back. See, process flow diagram is a for example, you have a vessel, you have a column. From column bottom, some line is going to your vessel. That's all I will show in a process flow diagram. But in a piping and instrumentation diagram, I will also show in the column that, okay, this is the level instrument. There is a control valve which is controlling the level of that column. So based on the level control, the fluid flow should transfer from column to vessel. I will represent a temperature instrument if there is any. I will represent a pressure instrument, how much pressure is there at the vessel or at the column. So this is a basic difference. In process flow diagram, I will not tell you that what is the size of the pipe, but in piping instrumentation diagram, I need to represent the size of the line liquid is getting transferred from column to vessel. So these are the basic difference. Normally in the in the books which you see, that is a process flow diagram. Piping and instrumentation diagram is a very detailed thing. Is it a little bit clear to you?
Yeah, for me it's fine. Let's see the participants. Prerna Gupta, did that fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So here in this chart, I just tried to cover up that how we distribute the activities based on your schedule, the plant schedule required by the client, that this is your award date and this is your finish date. Accordingly, you distribute your activities and proceed. So certain process related activities I have distributed, like process flow diagram, which I already covered in the previous slide, material selection diagram, line hydraulic you do, pump hydraulics you do, PNID you develop. then package data sheet you will prepare, heat exchanger you will do, safety valve data sheet you will do. So I don't need to go each and everything. I think this is just I kept as a typical that this will happen. Accordingly, you have after this PNID, then you have a HAZOP study. What are the hazardous and operability study that we call? Then SIL study, where you make the SIL integrity of you study the SIL integrity required of any instrument. That normally SIL 1, SIL 2, SIL 3. In oil and gas, you go up to SIL 3 maximum. In nuclear plant, you go up to SIL 5. So what is SIL? SIL is in short, I am telling you, it's basically the response time of any control loop, of any instrument loop. So as much as higher you go, your cost increases and the response time of that loop decreases. So you try to optimize based on the safety level, that how much SIL level you need. So your cost is also optimized, your system is also safe. So this is in short, it's a very detailed study actually. Then you have the pre-commissioning at site, then commissioning activity, startup and guarantee test run. So these are the activities. I will proceed further. So what is the profile of a process engineer? Can anybody volunteer this thing? Okay, let's proceed. So these are the main sectors where process engineer works: engineering design, industrial operations, IT sectors, mainly software development, then R&D. So these are the main sectors where there is a requirement of process engineer, and this is the work profile. Now, what is common within all? Again, it comes. In all industry, whatever you learning at this stage in 4 year of your engineering course, this is the concept application. Again, the same thing comes. There is a gap for the application, but you are studying the engineering concepts which you need to apply in future in engineering design, industrial operation, IT sector, R&D, any sector. The concept is same. You have to learn the application in this sector. So I think I will proceed further. Exactly, now came to the what we are doing as a design company, as a process engineering activities. Where is our main involvement? We are at the center. Process engineer are always at a center in this industry, design industry. Now, every time these 4 things you have to keep in mind for during design of the plant, that is operating and investment cost. You have to optimize it. The plant should be flexible enough to operate, and the safety, and it should be easy operation. Okay, there are many ways to build a plant, but if it is not easy in operation, it's very difficult. Your operator are running here and there. That is not a good way to design. So process engineer is a person who need to keep these 4 things in mind when you are designing any plant. In place of 1 column, you can do the same thing with the 2 column. But why 2 column? It's not easy operation. So if you can do with the one column, it's better to install only 1 column. It's just an example I'm telling. So these are the 4 things you have to keep in mind. These are the major activities which I have mentioned here: process flow diagram, heat and mass balance, equipment design, and utility balance. These 4 activities are the key of any design plant. What are, you can say, what are the utilities? These are the 5 major utilities: water handling, power, steam, fuel gas, and air. air, basically it's instrument air and nitrogen. You get the air, you convert into the instrument air specification and in the nitrogen. Nitrogen is used for basically as an inert gas for purging or blanketing purpose in oil and gas industry, because your oil vapors are highly hazardous. So normally in any tank or anything, you keep a blanket of nitrogen so that your hazardous vapor should not go out to the atmosphere. So these are basically five utilities which you deal with major. And this is your most important document, piping and instrumentation diagram, which I earlier said. Again, I am coming with this one. With all this PFD, HMD, equipment design, utility balance, everything, each and every input come to your piping and instrumentation diagram. This is a very important deliverable. So based on this, I will proceed. Any question on this one, or else I will proceed?
Yeah. Just on your previous slide, you mentioned a flexibility term.
In this one?
Yeah, process engineering in the blue, and then in the orange there are 4 terms. So this circle.
Circle, yes, it's a work profile. Then this is engineering design. This is IT sector. This is industrial operation, and this is R&D. So this I try to cover your profile, the process engineer profile. So what is the question on this one?
No, next to this.
Next to this, okay. This one, okay. In this one?
Actually, here it is slow in my system.
Okay,
Yeah.
No problem. I will wait. I will wait for you.
Yes, this is this one. So this flexibility term means, is it something related to the turn down ratio?
Exactly.
You want to say?
Exactly. So basically, you design a plant for 100% capacity, but suppose your market demand is any point of time is not for the 100% of the production. So the you should have flexible. Okay, I can run up to 50% capacity or 30% capacity. So that I mean to say. So normally we ask, the client ask that what is the turn down.
Possible that there are some plants, let's say we have designed that 100 tons per day. So if somehow we want to run them, let's say 30 tons per day, is it possible in some plant they don't allow that thing?
No, it's
possible. Due to some the design constraint that you cannot lower down the capacity below a particular point.
No, correct, Mr. Arya. There are certain operations which you cannot means, but it is means till now I have not come with this type of that. Okay, you cannot run the plant below this capacity, right? Maybe
because I want to add here,
there could be some plants where maybe the catalyst, if catalyst involved, it is not that much active. Okay, but I have seen mostly the plant which are getting designed, you can come down up to 25% or 30%. That I have mostly I have came across with these sub plants.
Okay. So my mean to say is, let's say we have a big fractionating column, and if we have put a feed location at a particular plate of the column somewhere, something like that. So that would that feed location would be a factor of this capacity or not? I don't.
No, you are absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. These are the points when we are studying the turn down of a plant, we need to check. So this is one of the point, like the feed location you say in a column, right? So this is, I will check that how much feed it is required to give me the same quality.
Yes, that's what
How much we can reduce. Yeah. So these are the points in the complete plant. We need to check the points that okay, this point it can bear up to 50%. This point it can bear up to 25%. This point can bear up to 30%. For example, So now you have a constant at 50%, 30%, 20, 25%. So now as a whole, you come to know that, okay, you cannot run this plant up to on spec of the product quality below the 50%. It's like a weaker chain of that plant.
Yeah. So I want to add one thing. Our one of classmate Brajesh Paliwal has joined actually.
Oh,
Paliwal,
great.
hi.
Hello, Mr. Arya.
Hello,
Yeah.
Mr. Paliwal.
Yeah. How
Hello,
are
hello.
you? Can I
Yeah, I'm
see you
fine.
actually? We have not seen you actually from
Okay,
last so
okay.
many
Yeah,
years.
sure. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I would
Hi.
like to just add something on this turndown. Like as per my experience, typically like turndown is like customer ask like for 50 to 60%. Typically in the refinery technologies I have seen, right? And if the turndown has to be for long term operation, then we add as a process case in addition to the normal that 100% case. Typically the hydraulics we do design for 50% turn down, and like 10% higher for the pumps and like compressors, right, for rotating equipment. So that is what we do for hydraulic basis. But if customer wants to run the unit for less than the turn down flow, or like 30-40%, so we analyze, because the most of the some of the instrument like control valves that will not be operated, so there may be some bypass control valve, or different control valve has to be designed for that lower turn down flow, because the rangeability of the control valve may not work, which is designed for 100% or 50% turn down flow, right, Mr. Sachan?
Yeah, absolutely correct. Thank you very much,
Yeah,
Mr. Paliwal, for your
yeah.
valuable input. It's good.
Okay,
You are
thank you.
absolutely right. Okay, so I will proceed to the next. So I think we have gone through this slide. I will go to the next. So again, this is just a standard model of a workflow. So you are at the center. You are giving and receiving. You are at both end. So for piping, you are giving the PNID and the line list with the process conditions. But from piping, you are getting the vendor pin to check and the plot plan. Obviously, with the plot plan, with the help of process input. Then I just try to differentiate with all the discipline how the information flows. That I tried to cover it in this slide. So mechanical, again the PNID equipment data sheet with the process data, and then vendor prints we are receiving and engineering drawings we are receiving to check. Civil and structure, although we have the lowest interaction with civil and structure, but still we give them the PNID and fireproofing requirements, but we don't get any input from them. So instruments, instrument, we have the most interaction with the instrument, piping and mechanical. Then PNID, instrument data, process data we provide accordingly. Like for equipment, mechanical department will prepare the complete equipment data sheet. As a process, we are just filling the process data. Similarly with we are doing with the instruments. And the electrical basically PNID and hazardous source list we give. Obviously as a first input we are giving them the absorbed load, and then the electrical come up with all the safety margins and their motor rating. They give a complete load list, so that is their deliverable. So this is a total workflow I prepared just to have an idea that we are at the center. What are the typical deliverables? So I just try to cover as much information as possible. Like in basic engineering, so basic engineering, we are basis of design, how much maximum we can fix it. Basis of design, simulation report, HMB, heat and material balance, process flow diagram. These are the basic things which should be fixed to have an idea of the plant. So that we are doing into the basic engineering. Basic PNIDs are important at every level during basic engineering. Then some information will be added during feed engineering. Then some information, all the information should be completed by detail engineering. So equipment data sheet, control philosophy, ESD philosophy, relief summary. Just a second, I need to plug in my laptop with the power. Sorry. Then relief summary, broadly we will prepare utility summary. So these are the typical deliverables of a basic engineering package. So what comes next? During the feed, front end deliverables. So detailed equipment list. So you can see that some of the deliverables are common. Only thing, we start detailing those deliverables. So equipment data sheet. So here also there was an equipment list, but here now it will be equipment data sheet, different all with the more information. PS safety valve sizing, main instrument data sheet, hydraulics, then PNID line list, package data sheets. So here also why I just kept outside, because it's sometimes it's not like a deliverables. We give input to the electrical, based on that they prepare. So area classification and basic plot plan for the piping. Then we come to the detail engineering. Now everything should be fixed. Everything should be detailed out. Vendor is involved. Now the vendor prints, equipment prints are coming. You need to review them. The offers, you need to review them. Based on vendor input also, you are detailing your deliverables. And also this will be the stage where you are issuing your piping and instrumentation diagram as a IFC status. IFC means issued for construction. Now your site work will start after issuing this issued for construction PNIDs. So these are the main deliverables where the process engineers are involved. Mr. Arya?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So should I continue, or is there any question on this one?
No, no, it's actually I have one question only, that when we do all the deliverable plan slide and everything, so do you interact these vendors very frequently in the meantime, or do you talk the vendors after completing this complete work?
No, Mr. Arya, what happens that up to the procurement stage, means
Hmm.
whenever there is a procurement department, we give them the specification. We ask that, okay, you find out a vendor and then get me the details. So they take a quotation from 3-4 vendors. We
No,
evaluate
no.
them.
My question is that suppose we did this column two, the front and the deliverable part, we completed this actually. Now
Okay.
at the part of the detail part, okay, that's what we did also. But PID also, let's say we have made. But
Mm-hmm.
sometime whatever we have designed and everything, the whatever this vendors we are finding available in the market or somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
they somehow would say, okay, we cannot do this thing. Is it also possible that sometimes they can say that whatever you have come up, due to some constraint, they cannot make this, we want to alter the few things?
No, there you cannot say that whatever specification you have prepared, everybody can give.
Yeah,
Like
that's what.
every means there are certain standard package which everybody can give. That is also possible. Like
Okay,
for
okay.
instrument air generation package or nitrogen generation package. I think all the vendors will be happy to get the job, because it's a very standard package everybody gives. Only thing, there is a capacity range which normally vendors keep, that okay, my capacity range is up to this much. So this is a very standard package. But if there is something very particularly designed, so maybe you need to find out the vendor who can give you those details. This could happen. And our as a process engineer, our involvement involve after you are placing the order to the vendor, and then we start exchanging the information or
Uh,
engineering data.
One question from Dr. Rajiv Kumar Garg,
Yes.
and he that what about the plant layout? How is it done? Can P&ID be prepared before the layout is ready?
See, these, I will say these works are sometimes going parallel. So the for the plot plan, the first plot plan starts after preparation of the process flow diagram. Because in process flow diagram, you have an idea, or you give idea to the piping that okay, I have, for example, 25 equipments, and you have the idea that how the process fluid is flowing. You have the idea of the process flow, you have the number of equipments. Based on these two information, piping start to develop the plot plan. Okay, so you don't wait for PNIDs to start. Obviously, after the PFD, PNID also starts. So these activities starts in a parallel direction. And after that, when your plot plan is prepared, it will be a preliminary. So you give to the process discipline, piping give to the process discipline, have a look that is it okay according to the process flow requirement. Basically, he is trying to fit those equipment in the available area according to the process flow rate. Means if you
Yeah,
wait,
actually,
if you
yeah, yeah. In
wait
case
for,
Yeah.
of
yeah, please.
sorry. So in case of PNID, actually you don't consider any constraint of actually your dimensions or layout or area available. I hope so. So PNID can be done
No,
without.
Mr. Arya,
That's
the
so.
thing is that we we must have a preliminary sizing
Yeah,
idea.
that it
That
must because
Yeah.
without that the
yeah,
whole thing got fail. We have designed the something
exactly.
and we don't have that
So,
much area and layout.
Mr. Arya, I just want to add because I am from this like basic engineering background. So
Yes,
what
yes.
we do, we typically uh, release the this typical plant layout. Okay, with each and every technology which we deliver to the customer, along with the PNID, which is based on the technology side, and then based on that, then the detail engineering contractor or the consultant, PMC, and all these guys will further look the plot plant and all, and they develop based on the other tie up with the other units like outside our battery limit of that unit, right? And also the utility line and everything they develop, and then they decide the final plot plan. But we typically give, and sometimes some customer comes like UOP, means our company, to work on that plant layout, and that also we do, but that is the additional info deliverables from our side. But typically we give the typical layout along with our basic engine package to the customers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is based on their means years of experience. They know that
Right,
how
right,
much size will
right.
be there, and
Yeah, yeah.
accordingly they put. Means maybe it could happen that from 3 meter by maybe 4 meter, it could happen by
Right.
3.1 meter or 4.1
Yeah,
meter. So
yeah,
that covers into the margin.
yeah. And also it depends on the region also, where someone wants like OISD, that norms that require some distance between the heater and the main vessels, and all these things are this further developed by the detail engineering, which is the final one, right? Our is the
Correct.
typical from which they start making the layout during that time.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Paliwal.
Yeah.
Perfectly
So,
well.
is it something? Can I put it in this way that after preparing the PFD, we can prepare the layout in parallel or in simultaneous with your
Yes. Yes.
PNID?
Yes. Yes. You can,
Okay,
after
okay,
the
yeah,
PFD, you can start working on the layout.
okay. So PFD will definitely help us in laying down the plot plan or whatever.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, I think
and
all the major vessels, reactor, and all, if it involves the reactor also in that technology. Yeah, you are already will have the fair idea, means how many equipment, exchangers, heaters will be there, and accordingly you can develop the plot plant.
right. Because before PFD already we do the design of the equipment and sizes we know, so definitely that will help uh, in designing the layout plan.
Right, right.
Okay, I may proceed further.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, this is about the deliverables. I took some of the deliverables to have an idea that how the information flows. So being a process, so for example, I took the example of this line list and piping specialty item and the plot plan, which we already discussed actually. So line list and piping especially data sheets. So these are getting counted. These are, after preparing the PNID, that where the strainer should be there, where, what is the size of the lines. So this is a deliverable of piping engineers, but we give them the process data, and accordingly it is getting finalized by the piping engineers. Then piping engineers will put their own detail, and then this list is final. Similarly, in the plot plan, this is a conceptual plot plan which is designed by the engineers, which we already discussed a lot based on the PFD, and then we review the process basically the plot plan, and then it get finalized. I will just go through some of the equipments where how it is how as a process or where other disciplines are involved. Like example, vessel, towers, reactors. So we provide the process provides the process data, and then based on our data, mechanical engineers do the detailing. Then they make some drawings, or it is coming from vendor, or they provide their own depending on their basically capability, or the type of projects, or the type of equipment they are handling. And then it is reviewed by the process that everything is fine as per a process engineer's requirement, and then only we can finalize these equipments. Similarly, with the heat exchangers, process data sheet is getting prepared. Then sometimes this is a matter of working philosophy of companies. Sometimes thermal rating is done by the mechanical engineers. Sometimes it is done by the process engineers. But main software is HTRI, where either mechanical check can check or process can check. And then based on that one, the thermal rating is getting decided. Then same thing, it's like also an equipment, so drawings will be prepared by the mechanical guys, and then it will be rechecked by the process. Same thing happened with the equipments, pumps and compressor, but it's something like it's a rotating equipment, so mostly vendors are involved, so it's like a one step more with the vendors. So vendor prints are coming, which is also getting checked by the process engineers, but mechanical is a person who will be involved with the vendors, not the process. Same thing happened with the package items. Here also the vendor will involve. So process will provide the process data. Accordingly, we will receive the quotation from the vendors, which is getting involved with the mechanical engineers. Then quotations that whatever process parameters we have given, the package vendor has complied those parameters, and then obviously it will be received by the finally by the reviewed by the process engineers before finalization. So this is about the mechanical engineering interaction with the process. Similarly, with the instruments, that process data will be provided, receive the quotation from the vendors, it will be checked by the process engineers, then prints will come, it will again be checked by the process engineers. So this is, I think, mostly design portion. I have just finished it. I just wanted to have an idea that these are the frequently used softwares. There are different softwares. I will say the MS Office is the most important software. Normally nowadays nobody says the software, but it's the most important. As an engineer, you are going to use maximum the Excel sheets. So for
But
the
I would like to add one thing. This BTech student don't do anything on this. They say that this is okay. This is not a very
no,
useful thing.
I I will say this is the most important tool for the engineers where you are preparing all your calculation sheets.
Yeah, that's
So
what I
this
learned
is
actually at
this
many
is my
places.
this will be my recommendation that at least you should have a very much fair idea working on the Excel sheets. When you not only Excel sheets, even the MS Word document, you are preparing a document. You have you have developed the report, but it doesn't look good. It's not in a proper format. There will be nobody your representative that you gave to somebody else. Okay, please format it. No, this is your deliverable. You have to do is complete formatting everything. Excel sheet, nobody is going to, okay, this is my formula, can you put it and calculate for me? No, you are the person who is going to develop this Excel sheet equipment calculation. Most of the companies have it, but you don't expect if anything new to be developed that somebody will come and do this for you. No, this is your job. Am I right, Mr. Paliwal?
Actually, yes, actually, actually, most of the time means I can tell for my own thing. Till you can say till 2012, I used to have Excel just to draw the graph.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, I used it for grading also for then I came to know that you can use anything, your conditional commands also. So you can do means everything there. Even
Yes,
optimization also,
yes.
everything can be done.
I
So
will, yeah,
so
I
we
will
would be
suggest.
happy that if the someone can give some talk on that, what can be done with the Excel actually, because we most of the time also we don't know what can be done from this.
No, sir. Normally, in every process engineering, everybody will start with the HYSYS representation. Nobody will keep the MS Office. But I thought this is the most useful software. That's why I kept it MS Office. There are there are some books. Means for this one, you don't need to go for any presentation or anything. There are books available for the Excel calculations. Okay, there are formulas. You need to
Yeah,
have a
can you share the name of that? Because I would be happy because
sir,
I want to learn, I
Raj
want to tell also.
Arya ji, I'm very sorry. I have not read any book. Basically, with the practice, I learned everything. So,
Same thing me also for the
but
for the
but
Excel.
yeah, but see, there are some basic course online also available. You just type, okay, give basic training on the MS Excel, or books are you can search it out. But it will be beneficial. I'm telling you, it's good.
Yeah,
It's
MS in MS Office, Excel is yeah. I would also add a point on this, as what Mr. Himanshu said. Excel is really very brilliant, and you can understand how designing actually done. So of course, software is there, but sometimes softwares are simply working like a black box. Sometimes for the student.
yeah, you don't know what
For
is happening
for
behind the
that,
scene. Yeah,
yeah, yes, yes. And in Excel, we know what actually happening and how it is happening. So
correct.
sometimes that helps in understanding to depth of that particular process or the operations we are designing. So Excel definitely first preferred by the student at the academic level, and the latter the software can be learned. That I think that is my
Exactly.
perception.
No, you are
Yeah, and one
absolutely right because your basic concepts, as I said, chemical engineering, you are getting the fundamentals learned. So where you are going to apply those, you can learn from the Excel only. If you start the high says and okay, start simulation, but what fundamental is getting applied, you don't understand.
right, right, correct.
So, okay. So next is basically these are the typical software we used in the process. HYSYS and Pro2 are our simulation softwares. HTRI for the heat exchanger thermal rating. Then PipeSync basically for if there are you have network of pipes, so that PipeSync is used. Then Olga is basically it's a dynamic simulator when you are doing designing of any long flow lines, pipelines. Then you use Olga. And AutoCAD software, basically we draw basic drawings on AutoCAD, but it's mostly it is not used by the process engineers. But if you have the idea of working on AutoCAD, sometimes it gives you an added advantage that your designer is not available and you have to issue any drawing with some modification on urgent basis. So at least you should have some idea about the AutoCAD. That will be my recommendation. Okay,
Yeah.
there are
Mr. Himanshu,
sorry, please.
uh, uh, just I want to discuss few things because I don't know many of the things here. So I want
Yeah,
to learn it from you now, just to understand, not
please.
learning, but just understand, I guess. So here, HTRI is something a part of Aspen or what exactly? Or is
No,
this part of
it's a
HiSys?
it's no, it's a different company. It's a different company.
Okay.
So with this HTRI software, you can there are different modules. So you can do all type of heat exchangers, cell and tube exchangers. Okay, and then you can do the
Mhm.
air coolers also. You can do the even there is a module on this HTRI where you can do the fired heaters also. So this is a
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
different software, totally different software. But they have the HYSYS and HTRI. They have their interface, but they are different companies.
Okay. Okay. So if I say, if I compare the EDR, that is exchanger design and rating in Aspen, and this HTRI, so which I should prefer to design heat exchanger, like HTRI or
See,
EDR? EDR in Aspen.
I will say preliminary to do this basic. Their database is also good, but when you are normally if you have the HTRI and you are giving a thermal rating guarantee and optimizing it, then you must have a run
Mhm.
on a HTRI. That is normally preferable.
Okay. Okay. So HTRI is preferable. Actually, when you
Exactly.
started answering, I lost your voice. So you are
Okay.
saying that ki HTRI is the preferable over EDR.
Yes, it's a preferable. And basically, within the companies, I can say that mostly companies they prefer the HTRI over the HYSYS for the thermal rating of exchangers. I am saying only for that particular
Okay.
thing. Yeah,
So it means the heat transfer coefficient evaluated by HTRI are quite reliable.
exactly. So it's a,
Okay.
I will say heat transfer coefficient is a parameters. Um, yeah, you can say it's more reliable. But HYSYS also
Mhm.
is nowadays actually see uh, the
Mhm.
cost of these softwares are too high, and
Mhm.
only big companies can bear the cost of HYSYS, and also they have the HTRI, also they have softwares, other softwares. But if you have HYSYS, normally you run it and up to you can say 99% or 99.5% cases the results are same. Right. So
Mhm.
you say, okay, I have the HYSYS, I don't need right now HTRI. But if you have HTRI, it's preferable to run with the HTRI.
Yes, actually, for me, why this has become so much of interest for me, this particularly heat exchanger design software,
Mm-hmm.
because I would just like to tell you that I am from the manufacturing, company. So here,
Uh-huh.
when we practically evaluate the heat transfer coefficient for our condensers or heat exchanger, and when we do it by our hand, and then we evaluate in the EDR, so all the three coefficients are different. So then we just wonder ki which we should definitely believe or rely on. So most definitely we should rely on the practical values, but
Yeah.
we want to have some such kind of software which will close to our practical values. So
No, if
that's why I
you are,
think whether STRI will bring that gap, closer that gap, close that gap.
I
I mean, sir.
yeah, I will say, because the HTRI company is working only on this heat exchanger area. Their
Okay.
database is very vast in this exchanger. It means heat exchange things. HYSYS database is
Okay.
very much famous on the simulation point of view, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
you talk about particular about the exchanger, I will always suggest that okay, HTRI is the best one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Thank you. And
thank you.
this
Yeah.
Olga something new software I just came to know.
Olga is
OLG.
normally, it is not, basically we are not using very much famous uh, in Indian industry. But if you go to the little bit Gulf side, or in a
Mm-hmm.
companies who is dealing with the pipeline jobs. So
Okay.
in pipeline jobs, actually this surge type of issues comes. So this
Mm-hmm.
Olga software gives a very precise calculation on surging in the pipeline. They give a dynamic simulation, right?
Okay. Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
there Olga comes into the picture, and it's a very costly software also.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So there are a lot and lots of standards, but these are, I just put some of the standards just to have an idea. See, the main difference, we call it as the application, where we say that engineers are the person who is applying the things which are already proven. So how it is proven? It is written in the APIs, means in the standards, with lot of research. These standards has been prepared. So engineers need to follow the standards. We are not doing any research. Why I am telling you this difference? Because if you started doing the research, then this will take a lot of time. And engineering means you are optimizing the thing, and on other hand you are wasting your man hours doing the things which are already proven, and you are doing the question mark on it. I am not saying you should not do, but if the things are already proven, standardized things are there, then these are the standards you should follow and proceed for the engineering activities. So thank you very much. It's all from my side. If any questions from anybody, I would like to be happy to answer it.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
My question to you is the related to software. Sometimes, sir, HTRI has some limit. It's just like
Hello, your voice is gone.
To have the difference actually.
Sorry, I did not get the question. It's I did.
Yeah, I also didn't. Can you? Hello.
Yeah,
I
we
would say one
lost
thing
his
that you
voice.
have actually finished everything on right time, just like the US people. They are very punctual about time. So they start on time, finish on time. And see, we have taken so much discussion also in between. Even things went to 100% perfect actually.
Thank you.
Alok, can you ask your question again because we didn't get that question. Any other question from participants so that anyone else can ask?
hello, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, sir. I am facing some technical issue. Sir,
Yeah,
my
that's fine.
question
So
to
you
you,
can also if you want.
my question to you is that HTRI have some limitation. Just like it is not reliable for the all cases. So what can we do for this? Either we are carried out manual calculation or by doing by using other software.
No, in this case, I will suggest you that, okay, manual calculation is fine. That, okay, we need, if there is some, you feel that no, it's an absurd result, you can cross check, you should cross check with your manual calculation. But if you have licensed version, the first thing that you should interact with the software company. There are advisors, and you can say this is, maybe there is some bug. If you are using any pirated one, there could be a possibility of any bug, right? Which you should not use it actually. If you have the licensed version, you can anytime contact with their contact center. So that is the best thing you should do.
Okay, sir.
Any other question from participants?
No, from my side, no questions.
Okay, yeah,
on only on my side there was some internet issues, so slides were coming late on my system.